comprising 2 beautifully decorated modern guest suites with seating capacity for up to 1,100 guests. An ideal choice for engagements, weddings, Mendi parties, exhibitions and seminars. Supported by the latest sound and video technology, air-conditioned and free Wi-Fi. Contact us today and see how we can make your vision a reality. The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, located on Featherstall Road South, Oldham. A perfect choice for your perfect day.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to UK24 TV, where we continue our journey on finding about the local election 2019. We've spoken to many candidates over the last few weeks, where we've spoken to Labour candidates, independent candidates and also candidates from the Conservative Party. We continue this evening in speaking to candidates from the Conservative Party as we go into the election mode within the next 48 hours or so. And doesn't time fly? The fact that we've been speaking to so many different people with experience, people that have come in as candidates for the first time. And for those people that have come along with those candidates or to offer their support, they too themselves have shared their journey, their political journey within the United Kingdom. Some of them have worked across different sectors on different positions with different panels. But the one thing that they all have in common is their love and their passion for British politics. So tonight we've got a very special show. One is, I'll give you a little bit of a hint in one. There are 3 S's in the room. And I don't know, you're probably all thinking, oh, why is that so special? I'll introduce you to my guest this evening. Assalamu alaikum, Shazia. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm fine. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
You're most welcome. So we have our second S. Obviously, I'm the first one. Second, Shazia, Conservative candidate within the Rusholme area. Excellent. Next, we have Shahanara Chowdhury, and you are first-time candidate within the Longside area.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome.
Assalamu alaikum, Shahnaz, and assalamu alaikum, viewers.
Absolutely wonderful. One of the great things about this evening's program is the fact that obviously we're women. All our names begin with S's, but we come from very different backgrounds. Shazia, you are from a Pakistani background, and Shahnara, you are from a Bengali background.
Yes, right.
But the one thing that brings you two ladies together is the fact that you are members of the Conservative Party and are standing first-time candidates within your area. So I want to first of all speak to you, Shazia.
Yes, thank you very much. It's our pleasure to be here and to speak to the public for the first time on the platform of conservative groups. So we have been actually given tickets on these local elections, and for the first time I've been given ticket in the Rusholme area.
So this is your first election as well, isn't it? So previously you've not done any, not run any election, not been selected in any other party.
This is my first
This
election.
is your first. So why did you decide, first of all, the Conservative Party? And I'm going to ask this to both of you. So first of all, Shazia, why the Conservative Party? Because traditionally, if I may say, traditionally people from minority ethnic backgrounds, they come from particular areas, it's always been known to join the Labour Party or other party. Conservative isn't usually isn't the first choice. I'm speaking about traditionally what's happening. So why for you, Shazia? Why the Conservative Party?
First of all, I joined Conservative Party in 2012. And why I joined this group? Because they have higher values, they have cleaner background, and they serve people in a better way. They are not hypocrites.
Okay. What a response. Why did you join?
Well, I joined the Conservative Party because I want to make changes in the area, and I like competition. And knowing the fact in my area or around Manchester, it's been a long-going Labour, candidates winning after winning. Like I said, I love competition, and that's probably my one and only. And another thing is, obviously, they have better prospects, better future, that I feel that, we should actually change and see for ourselves what is in the Conservative Party, because a lot of people don't know. They always think it's the worst, but, when you get to know the party, when you get to know the manifestos, obviously we don't, agree with everything, but there's a lot of nice things there, and that could help the community and the local people.
In particular, when looking at the Conservative Party, we're going to go into particular details a little bit in a moment, but looking at ethnicities in terms of your particular wards, I mean, Rusholme, Longside, have a long history of people, migrants coming into the area. And I was just looking at the stats of four particular of your wards. If we look at in terms of population, if we go back to, I think the last information that we have is from the 2011 census. Within Longside, we have around 15,429 population, and within Rusholme, we have just over 13,500, 13,643. If we look at population in terms of ethnicity, there's about 50-50 split between in terms of male and female. Within Longside, Pakistani heritage are 19%, Bengali are 6%, and then we have Indian just below 2%. If we look at the same statistics when looking at, if we look at Rusholme, we have around Pakistani again. Around 9%, Bengali around 4%, and then 3%, a little bit higher than the comparative to Longside in terms of Indian, just below 4%, 3.6%, and then we have Irish and other people. So it's predominantly then, even though we maybe think that there's a lot of people from minority ethnic backgrounds living, the majority of people are from white background in terms of ethnicity.
I think we are living in a diverse society, so these kind of the facts and figures should not be particularly any matter to us, because we are living in a diverse community where we can serve better to people, where we can include more people into the platform. Particularly, our aim is to serve people. And our aim is to create a difference in the society. So it does not make any difference to me.
Quite an interesting point of view. We are going to go to a quick break where we're going to ask people to send in their comments and any questions that they have. If you are from Rusholme or Longside, or you're living within Manchester and you want to send your comments or questions with reference to the Conservative Party, or maybe you are from a different party and you want to ask these two ladies as to why they've joined this particular party. So please send in your comments and questions. We are going to go to a quick break and we'll see you straight after that. Assalamu alaikum.
The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, comprising two beautifully decorated modern guest suites with seating capacity for up to 1,100 guests. An ideal choice for engagements, weddings, Mendi parties, exhibitions and seminars. Supported by the latest sound and video technology, air-conditioned and free Wi-Fi. Contact us today and see how we can make your vision a reality. The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, located on Featherstall Road South, Oldham. A perfect choice for your perfect day.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. So that was a very quick break, and in that break we've had many comments that have coming through in reference to the candidates. So you've got some very positive comments. You've got some people out there who are watching out for you, which is great. You said before the break, Shazia, that in terms of joining the party and the fact that the communities themselves are very diverse, the fact that you two ladies are from a minority ethnic background, we have a Pakistani background and then we have a Bengali background, what is it that you feel that you can bring in terms of being a conservative candidate to the area?
When I went to campaign during this process, since I've been selected as a candidate, I have seen that people from different backgrounds, they welcomed us as a conservative and as a woman, as a candidate of the Rusholme area. They welcomed and they were pleased to see that women who is outspoken and who is willing to serve people. So I was just going door to door and I was trying to speak to people what problems they were facing. So they were quite happy with the candidate of a conservative. So I do not see that people, this is just particular for the Labour Party. This area welcome to every candidate, whoever wants to serve.
Shahana, I mean, you're somebody who's been a political activist over the years. You've worked within different organisations, you've chaired, you've been a member of women's organisations, and you're somebody that believes very passionately about women's empowerment.
I do, yes,
and you've been not just campaigning within your particular area, but you've actually gone out and supported other candidates as well, haven't you?
Yes, I have, yes.
So how have you found it when you've been knocking on doors, dropping leaflets, going to meetings?
Well, I've had really, really positive results back. I had no idea that so many people feels that Conservatives should come back in power. You know, I've had English people, Irish people on the market stall, and I was quite scared to approach them thinking, oh my God, what will they say? This area is full of Labour. But in fact, they, lots of them said they wanted a change. 30 years going with Labour, they said it's about time that we had something change. And, one or two have said to me, where have you been? We have been waiting for you.
What, for you, Shahana?
Yeah, well, particularly, the party itself and myself, and they congratulated us, best wishes. I got hugs and kisses, thinking, where have you been? We are so glad a woman, and particularly women, have come out of their shell, in the ethnic minority and actually overpowering.
And that response, has that come from the wider community or in particular for the Bengali or the ethnic minority community?
No, it's actually wider. I got more positiveness from the ethnic minority, not the Bangladeshis or the Pakistanis. There were some of them Irish, there were English people who actually, it was probably 9 out of 10 English people living in the area, elderly mostly, and some of the younger ones. They're the one who gave me this. I'm thinking, wow, this is great to hear that they really want us. And where have we been hiding? And I am surprised that, I am happy for the support that they've given me. And, and that they said that you can make changes, we need something different. And if there's no competition, then we don't know what's going to happen. We need the competition.
Shahana, I want to bring in the issue of working with different communities.
Yeah.
One of the things that we've heard across the different towns, obviously we've travelled and we've had candidates coming in from the different towns. Within Oldham, we've had people coming in from the Bury side and obviously in Manchester. One of the things that we found is that in some pockets of communities, there's been some resistance as well. It's wonderful to hear that you've had very positive, but there's been some resistance.
Yes.
Can you associate with that resistance?
Well, obviously, whether you're in any particular party or not, you're going to get obstacles, you're going to get barriers. But for me, it's a competition and it's competing with obstacles. And I love challenges. And my challenge is to overcome these obstacles. Nobody can stop me.
So how have you done that? I mean, can you mention any of the obstacles that you've come across?
Well, I've faced, some negative stuff, that's why I'm in Conservative Party and not in the Labour Party. When I've explained to people, so it's given them positive answers. For instance, I've had a couple young lads who are on streets. They thought there was nothing for them.
What, in Rusholme, in particular in
Rusholme?
Rusholme?
Area, where there's people think they're doing bad things. But these lads have actually come to me and come with positiveness, saying, Auntie, it's respect. They come, say, Auntie, nobody has actually told us, nobody has talked to us about issues that we are facing, that it can be overcome. You are the first to say that we can overcome, because I actually invited them to come to our group meetings, see for themselves. Even one of them, any of them, they can stand up for a candidate. They can actually get something back from the community they hadn't realised. So, that empowered them a lot. And for me I've actually said something and they actually listened to me, is empowering me that the obstacles are there, but you can overcome them.
Shazia, I want to bring you into this as well. I mean, it's across the board. If we look at Rusholme alongside, traditionally, as you've said, they've been wards that have been there, run by the Labour Party. So there are strong Labour connections there. Coming in as a Pakistani woman, somebody who's been trained within the legal field, you've got your own standing there in the community, and suddenly deciding to go into politics. How have you faced that?
It's not about that suddenly I decided to come into the politics. I'm in the politics since my collegehood life. So I was elected as a representative while I was studying in college, and then I continued serving my community, and I continued doing the public works in many issues. So I always helped other people. So I wanted to become a candidate so that I could help more people. I could be a stronger voice of the community, and where Labour can face some competition. It's not like they just take the voters for granted and they do nothing. Once they are elected, they are not creative. They are not doing anything for community. They are not resolving their problems. And and people are just saying that they were not happy with the Labour services, because if they just give ticket even to a dummy person, they can get elected. Why? Because they do not face the competition.
Some seats are seen as traditionally safe seats for certain candidates, aren't they, within particular parties? And the same would go for a Conservative or Liberal Democrats or any other party. That if they've had a long-standing history of that particular party being elected within that particular ward, so they've got their own vote bank, haven't they? Something that I heard yesterday when your colleagues came in terms of the Conservative Party, and they made this issue that can be seen as traditionally a monopoly in certain areas by a particular party, and that's one of the things that you as candidates will be combating. How will you be different, though? I mean, don't all candidates say that they're going to be available 24/7? Nobody's available 24/7 because we have to sleep, we have to eat, we have families. At the end of the day, you're only available at certain times. Doesn't everybody say
as long
that?
As long as you are approachable, as long as you just make public feel like a family members, a wider community, like a wider family, so they should realize the difference. So that's why I think more Conservative people should be coming into this field, so that they can give some competition to the Labour, so that Labour people do not just get the votes for granted. They are doing in the Manchester area, where I'm standing, in Rusholme area. So people are just complaining that in Rusholme area they do not serve. In the last 8 years, the Labour Party has not served.
So when you say not serve, what have been the problems? What do they mean by not serve? I mean,
they are not becoming the voice of public or voice of community. They are just, for example, if people face the issue in local council, city council, or face the issue in schools, if people face the issues in, with the GP, hospital, with police, with schools, they do not just become their voice. They do not represent them in a manner they should have represented them.
Shahan, I want to bring you in terms of priorities. If you were to be elected on the 2nd of May and you became a councillor within your particular ward, what would be the priorities that you would be looking at?
Well, my vision is actually, making Longside better, And when I mean better, my aims is and vision is to get children off the street, try as much as possible, because we have been a lot of negative feedbacks from the community. Hanging out children, there's nothing for them to do. Knife crime, there's drugs, and you know there's so many children out there with nothing to do. I want to make Longsight a safer place, get something going for the youngsters somewhere, you know, in a community project or something. Try to make them understand there is life here, you know, and as well as in Allah's hand. There is life here and they can do something for themselves. Some children feel all the time negative, that they cannot do anything. There is nothing for them to do. But we as a community, if we work together and if we help each other, we can help our community.
So what sort of services would you be looking at for young? I mean, you mentioned in terms of crime, deviance,
yes,
there are issues of antisocial behaviour,
that's right, yes.
in terms of people aspiring,
Yes.
feeling that they can achieve.
Yes.
I mean, your minority ethnic women, if you look at traditionally within those particular societies, women don't go into politics. So the fact that you've aspired and you've then gone there, you're fighting the battle, you're there at the last stage now. So you yourselves are examples of that. So what is it about second, third and fourth generation children who still believe that?
Yeah, well, obviously, yes, you know, bringing the women into education, teaching them, you know, there's more and more women are actually coming out from their boxes. Obviously, we as women, we're always going to face barriers from our men, you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, mainstream is our place and we should teach our children to come forward, so to have their voice said. Obviously, you know, I've been a long community activist, and I want people to follow me, that it can be done. Even if we have barriers, obstacles, it can be done. And you, as a person, can make a change. Somebody has to.
Actually, Hannah said that women face problems, troubles with men. Even I can tell you that there are problems in Labour Party. When I was campaigning in Rusholme area, so Labour Party candidate and supporters like the sitting councillor, they harassed me.
I've just seen a comment here by Sham Raja, who writes, Labour group has been harassing Shazia Anjum in Rusholme ward, without actually naming anybody.
So that's why I'm
explain
explain
what's been happening.
That the negative behaviour, the offensive behaviour of Labour Party is unacceptable. They harassed me whilst I was campaigning, they threatened me, they even bullied me. And even I was an educated lady. Just to think about the other women who are in the society, they are not protected by the negative behavior of Labour people, because they are trying to create a monopoly. They consider that they take these seats for granted. So we cannot accept this offensive behavior. We cannot accept.
And was it reported? Was it reported within your particular party? And
I reported to Conservative Party, my party, and I reported to police. Police will investigate into this matter, and they will face the consequences of that kind of negative behavior.
so negative behaviour from, I mean, you talk about competition.
People,
So you talk about competition. There's an element of healthy competition, isn't there?
Yes.
But then there's an element of where you refer to harassment, which must not be tolerated from within a party or from outside a party. Is it because you're women? Is it because you're women and you are different, or is it because you're part of a different party, being that you are candidates of a Conservative Party?
It's both. For me, it's both. If you look into the Facebook page of Rabin Waz, who's a city councillor of Rusholme, so he has been actually, and he's a supporter, and Labour Party has been making hatred comments. And they are trying to mislead the public, and they are trying to manipulate the whole election system. And the other point, they have been harassing me as a woman, from particular ethnicity background. So they have targeted me specifically because they feel me threat for them. They just think that they are just going to be a councillor forever, but now they are feeling that somebody has come into the field and that person can make a threat to them. And this is why they were scared of Conservative Party, and they made so many negative comments.
I mean, it's quite strong in terms of allegations here, in terms of what's happening. You've actually named a particular candidate who is...
Even they said you have no right to be candidate, you have no right to campaign, you just go away from here because you are from a particular ethnicity background. So these kind
being
of comments,
Pakistani.
I mean, they've named some groups, name of groups, so I'm not going to say something, I mean, over the media, so this will be part of the investigation.
Okay.
Anyway, but I will call this a threatening behavior, and this was totally unacceptable, this was offensive behavior. They tried to degrade me in front of other people, and they tried to be like very aggressive and possessive people of that community. But community will recognize that who can represent in a better way.
Shana, I'm going to bring you in.
Or the Labour Party. Let me tell you, the Conservative Party has always served in a better way. For example, if you look into the council tax bills, who has given the higher council tax? It's Labour Party. If you look at the homelessness issue, who has tackled the problem in a better way? It's a Conservative Party.
When you say tackled it in a better way, how has the Conservative Party tackled it in a better way? If you have sitting councillors who are Labour councillors and they're looking after those particular wards and working with the local council, then how have the Conservatives...
Let me tell you, Conservative has spent £35 million. They have increased £35 million just for Manchester policing. So they have given more funds for policing. They have given more funds for just spreading the network of metro. So this was the Conservative Party who has spread the networking of metro. So metro was initialized by Conservative. It was not Labour. Labour wanted to put congestion charges in Manchester. They wanted to give public hard time, but it was just the Conservative who is giving the public-friendly policies, who is lowering the council tax, who is giving better services to people. It's Conservative. It's not Labour. So people and public should recognize that Labour is hypocrite, and Conservative is a real party with the real project and positive things.
Shahana, I'm going to bring you in terms of the needs of the communities. We've made reference to some of the policies, some of the work that's been going on. Obviously, at the moment, the governing party is the Conservative Party. In these particular wards, as you said, traditionally they've been Labour candidates and Labour elected councillors. When you speak to people and out there, what are the issues for those particular communities? I mean, Rusholme isn't very far from Longside.
No,
it's only a stone throw away. Yeah. It's a boundary between them.
Well, as a community activist, been there for a long time. I dealt with Rusholme, Longside, Gorton, Ardwick, you name it. Most of the people could be far away, Burnish, Disbury. The main thing they face is people. When these places like growth centres, citizen advice bureaus, the community centres, the play scheme have all shut down. You can see that there is a need in the community for someone to go and help them with their form fillers, with their benefits checks, with the council tax checks, even interpretation.
But do councillors do that? I mean, some of the citizen advice bureaus, community venues, some of the venues obviously that you've worked for or worked with, isn't that what volunteers do?
Yeah, but there is hardly any volunteering at the moment because obviously people have either got a job or they're not willing to do volunteers. I've faced lots of challenges in the past and now in the future, and I am still facing challenges. I have referred a lot of people onto the councillors and they have come back with negative answers. So whether being a Labour or Liberal or whatever, they've come back and, some of the candidates, they just think they're politicians and that's their job and nothing else. A referral would be wise for them to do, which they don't do. So, I think if you've taken a seat, that you should think about the community's need, because this is the first place where how you get voted is the community needed you, community voted, and that's why now I'm not saying everyone is bad or everyone is good, but obviously our priority is the community, and if the community is happy, they're happy, we're happy. I mean, for me to go round trying to serve all these people is not right. I can't do that on my own. But you will find 9 out of 10, they find me whenever they want to. Like Shazia said, not 24 hours a day, but I am available most of the time. And people have said to me, yes, we don't agree with the Conservative Party, but we do. You do the community work, you come to us for help when we need to. So we're looking at what you do rather than who you are supporting.
Okay, we're going to go to a commercial break now. So if you are a member of the community and you live within this particular community, we've had lots of people that have logged on. We've got here, we've got another comment here by Shams Rajan, says Labour Asian councillors, they think they own Manchester. So quite an interesting comment there. If you are for those particular communities, whether you be from Rusholme or whether you be from Longsight or Gorton or the neighbouring wards, and you want to send your question through to these particular candidates, then please do so. We are going to go to a break, and straight after that we'll continue our conversation and the final part of tonight's show. Assalamu alaikum.
The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, comprising 2 beautifully decorated modern guest suites with seating capacity for up to 1,100 guests. An ideal choice for engagements, weddings, Mendi parties, exhibitions and seminars. Supported by the latest sound and video technology, air-conditioned and free Wi-Fi. Contact us today and see how we can make your vision a reality. The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, located on Featherstall Road South, Oldham. A perfect choice for your perfect day.
Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to UK24 TV, where we are looking at the local elections of 2019. We'll continue our conversation. You are 2 very different women, if I may say so, from different backgrounds, who bring so much into the mix of politics, and in particular within the Conservative Party. I want to now move on to another area that I know that you feel very passionately about, and we've spoken about this in terms of just now in the break as well. Working with the elderly, and this is perhaps for those people that have been following these programmes, hasn't been mentioned much from all parties. In fact, we spoke about crime, education, housing, population, the elderly. Why do you feel so passionately about the elderly?
Well, I really am passionate about the elderly because over the years I have seen from grandparents to mother, aunties, who have, grown old, and, the benefit for them in our society, in our community, and what we can do for them. And I do feel a lot of the time that as mainstream, we do neglect the elders, although we say we don't, we do. And
do you mean that in terms of services, or do you mean as communities? Or
well, they're both communities as well as services, because as a community, mothers, sisters, brothers, whatever, we're not doing enough for our neighbours, we're not doing enough for our own families, and we don't realise that they were once where we were, and they all, they did what they had to do, their bits, but we are not looking after our...
It's quite concerning that, isn't it, Shahana? Because traditionally, if you look at, in terms of our cultural background, no matter where we're from, we are 3 Muslim women.
Yeah.
And coming from a Muslim background, Muslim communities, but generally speaking, we are communities who have looked after our elderly, haven't we?
Yeah.
But we are now facing, over the last 10, 15 years, an increasing number
Yes.
of people from our communities, if I may use that word, being actually put into old people's homes.
Yes, and there's not many homes because, for instance, the Bangladeshis, we still have the bonding, people do look after. Now when I go round, I see aunties and all that, they do cry out for help, and there's certain things they can't tell you, they can't do, but they have to suffer in silence. And, you know, particularly our community, at least they have a little bit of support. But when I've gone round my canvassing,
To the wider
campaigning
community.
to the wider community, the Afro-Caribbean, there's lots of Italian who have come to this country, there's a lot of Spanish from, you know, ethnic minority, and lots of English. And in few of them I found exactly the same questions and answers, but like they've taken a lot of things away from the elderlies. And my pledge is another one with the youngsters, yes. Another one is that I hope that I can keep my promises, that I want to give them the bus passes back, not take away the right for the TV license, and a bit more tender loving care for them, if we can make them happy to the end of their life. Because I've been taking these away, and when I've seen the community, lots of them have worked for 40 years, 50 years, and is it fair to take all this away from them when they've paid their taxes and they've earned so hard, and now they've come to an end where they want to enjoy the little bit of money and it's been taken away from them? You know, it's just doesn't, for me, it doesn't feel right.
Shazia, I'm going to bring you into this. I mean, you're somebody that's been legally trained, and obviously you practice as well. When you hear about services and you hear about people who've got problems in terms of the elderly, from your own experience, what can be done more?
I can see many issues, many problems, not only with elderly people, but also with, like, there are many issues with children upbringings. There are many issues with the social services involvement. We need to have the system in place where domestic violence can be tackled, because many women are facing still in these days, still they are facing domestic abuses. They are facing domestic violence. They are facing depression. Women need to develop themselves and come out of that depression, because they are part of the society and they need to be included. For this, we should have system in place where we can train more women to come out of homes and contribute in the society, where women can make more integration with the society and can bring up children in a brighter way, better way, and stronger way. The second thing I want to highlight is about the policies. The difference of the policies between Conservatives and the Labour Party.
And is there a big difference? Because some people would say that when you look at political parties, for those people that don't vote, I mean, we still have a very high percentage of people that don't actually come out to vote. Obviously, over the years, there's been a lot of encouragement, a lot of campaigning to get people to vote. So for that candidate, for that voter, looking at the candidates and saying, well, they're all the same. What is different about them?
That's the reason why I'm just trying to highlight these policies before the public, because the public are not aware of the actual situation. Labour Party is creating a monopoly where they are just showing their own one side of the story. They are hiding their negative stories. First of all, if I tell you what's the difference between Conservative and Labour policies, why with the Conservative people? Because if you look at the behaviors, even like the council behaviors right now, which is not being tackled by the representative of people, by the Labour representative, what they are doing, they have lots of resources, financial resources. It's not that it's a lack of money. There's no lack of money with the Manchester Council. Manchester Council has resources. They are investing, they are spending public money. They are investing public money in wrong places. They are creating wrong policies. They are spending money.
Can you give me an example?
For those people okay, let me give you an example. They created the wrong bus lane and they spent too much money on creating the wrong bus lane in Rusholme area. So it's hindrance. If I ask the public whether it's hindrance or it's progression for the businesses, so definitely all the businesses of Winslow Road and Rusholme, they are saying it's hindrance. Yeah. It's not progress. They have spent too much money on unused and just it's abuse of money. So they are abusing, one minute, they are abusing public money.
I just want to bring in there. When a decision is made in terms of a bus lane or anything else, if highways come up with it, it goes back to the council. Yeah. All the elected people sit there, and there's a vote, isn't there? Yeah.
But this is the weaker voice of weaker representative. They do not become the stronger voice of community. They cannot represent the people very well. If they are not representing the businesses, residential people, they have no right to become the representative of their constituency.
Because there's that many councillors who are Labour Party. Obviously, this is what I found out, that obviously our voice is minority and they are majority.
So when you say our voice, you mean the Conservative Party?
Voice is minority.
So within the council, when decisions are made, I mean, this is why I came.
But still, the funding, where the funding is coming, funding from coming national level. So national level,
they are local. There's local funding, isn't there? There's local investment, there's local funding.
And the second issue I wanted to highlight, it's just still I haven't completed my point. The second issue was parking tickets. If you look into the parking tickets, people are getting annoyed by this kind of behavior where they are just facing unfair parking tickets. So they are just affecting.
What do you mean unfair? If somebody parks on double yellow line or they stay longer in a place that they shouldn't, how has that got to do?
It's all about the policies, for example, Shahnaz. It's all about the policies. They should give the free parking outside the mosque area to people. They should not create the yellow double line for those people who are going into the mosque to pray. So the mosque people, when the Muslim people go for prayer, they should allow, the council should allow the 1 hour or 2 hours of free parking. And this is the duty of the representative of people. This is not the duty of the council just to make policy. Policies can be changed by creating a strong decision by the representative. This is failure of a Labour Party. This is failure of Labour Party representative. This is failure of their local councillors who are not becoming their stronger voice.
Shana, I want to bring you in this. Somebody who's worked within communities, I mean, quite strong words here in terms of failures of particular candidates or representation. You make reference to a minority voice within a particular
no, it's not about becoming a minority voice.
One minute, Shazia. Just 1 minute. I want to bring Shana because I want to bring in the view that those policies, there are national policies and there are regional in terms of incentives and decision-making powers. Within a particular council, within particular wards, are people sending that information? Are they engaging with their local councils? I want to ask that question first, and then we'll come back to the point that Shazia is
making. Not really. They're not really. The reason why, because they've been ignored. Particularly, I've had to, when I've gone round, I hadn't realised that there were the people, the minority, majority, ethnic, whatever you call it, they have been ignored by some of the councillors who have ignored them totally. For instance, somebody's made a complaint with all the rubbishes and everything at the back, there's rats and all that, several times, over and over again, so they got fed up. Not one letter, so we've made inquiries to check. They haven't even sent a letter to the council to say this person is actually making a complaint. So what's happened is that there's no letter gone, the council is not aware about it, the client is, the customer, they're fed up and going after the council to say do this for me, do this. I know we can't do everything, I know they can't do everything, but a letter to the council assures them that I am doing something.
So that would be how the voice can then be forwarded.
Exactly, and that is one particular reason why I have joined the Conservative Party, to have a voice for the community. At least I can write to them and say they have done this or they haven't done. My client's satisfactory is good enough for me, for them to vote for me now or see me as negative. Because if I don't do something and I'm standing up for election, just for election day, going round and say I promised them, obviously we can't promise them everything, but a letter it's a useful thing for a client to see.
I've got a comment here. I'm going to read this comment, and the comment is from Latif Mia, who says there is no Labour representative to defend any views of the Conservative candidates. I just want to make one thing clear, is that over the last few weeks we've had different candidates coming in. Unfortunately, we've not been able to bring two different parties together on the same night. We have had Labour candidates
and they
coming in.
don't know how to treat women.
Just 1 minute, Shazia. Just 1 minute, Shazia. We'll come back to that. So I just want to make a point on this. So we've had people from the Labour Party come in. We've also had independent candidates come in. Yesterday and today's Conservative, and tomorrow evening we will be having some Labour candidates coming in. So there's been lots of opportunities. So it's not about defending; it's about giving
awareness to public.
Your own perspective. In terms of the voice of elected representatives, which are councillors, how much can actually councillors achieve? You make reference to letters or a phone call, but do you think that some members of the community? Do you think that some members of the community think that you've got some sort of magic wand and you can fix things overnight? Do you think that there's an element of that?
So say that it should be like, if any policy is logical, if you create any arguments logical, there is no reason why council or why authorities will not accept it. It's all about being logical, it's all about being fair, and it's all about being proportionate to the current circumstances. If your voice is proportionate, if your voice is like reasonable, and if your voice is fair for the public, definitely authorities, they are not going to do anything whatever is not fair for the public. So they will listen to those people if
so you make reference to maybe social movements, lobbying, people getting together, the voices being heard, and you talk about proportional representation, you talk about people airing their logical arguments. So if they've got something that's been forwarded,
whenever policy is made,
how would you do that, Shazia? How would you ensure that would happen?
Whenever any policy is made, so we need to look into the best interest policy, not only on the public side, but
isn't that too late? Once the policy has been made, if the policy has been made and it's then been disseminated across communities in terms of
it's not dictatorship though. It's not dictatorship. It's democracy.
Yeah,
this is democracy. This is not dictatorship, and this is the country who listens very carefully. And as I said, that any contribution, if any contribution is proportionate, definitely they will listen to it, and then they will give way to it. And this country is a lovely country to just, give opportunities for everyone on equal basis. And if there is anything which is not equal, there are courts where you can get justice from.
Okay. Shana, I'm going to bring you back in. We are in the final segment of today's programme. One of the issues that has come out over the last few weeks in terms of what's happening within the Conservative Party, but also across other parties, is the issue of Islamophobia. And I want to bring that in. I know it's something, until we talk about youth and you talk about other people, there may be issues that people are facing. You are a woman who wears the hijab. You are, visually, I can see that you are a Muslim woman. What is the actual hearsay on the ground in terms of people who work within the Conservative Party? Is there Islamophobic attitudes or behaviour within the Conservative Party?
No, it's good attitude towards it.
Is there any evidence?
Just 1 second.
Is there any evidence?
Just 1 second.
Yeah, I haven't had any problems regarding that. And in my community, maybe I've not gone wider enough to find out, there might be problems people are facing, but in the community that I work in, I haven't faced this, and my communities haven't faced this, because I've never had a complaint to say that they're doing this and people objected. In fact, a lot of the communities abide by our rules, abide by Islam, standard, abide by our religion. Even when they go into the mosque, an English person, my friend, they would say, "Oh, do we have to wear a scarf? Shall we wear a scarf?" So they are. I don't see there is a problem with Islamophobia.
Baroness Moasi is somebody who's highly acclaimed in terms of listened to. She's held, obviously she's a baroness, she's held different positions. She is somebody that's come out openly and said this institutional racism and Islamophobic behaviour within the Conservative Party. She herself faced it. She continues to talk about it. She has gone out on social media and she's done that from the Conservative Party. Then from the other parties, there are people who've accepted the fact that it exists, and then there's been a push in terms of adopting the actual definition, a formal definition of Islamophobia. So far, in terms of parties across the board, correct me if I'm wrong, many parties, in terms of the Labour Party, the Scottish National Party, Liberal Democrats and other parties, have actually acknowledged and adopted that definition. The Conservative Party seems to be lacking behind even accepting the definition in terms of Islamophobia. Shazia.
As I said before, that whatever, for example, there must be freedom of expression. I believe on freedom of expression, but then there should be freedom to perform religious obligations. As I said before, that there should be like a free parking for the prayers time. So all these things, it's the representative duty to highlight these things. If you, as you mentioned, that Varsi has contributed into that, and then she achieved what she wanted to achieve.
She's led a campaign, a national campaign, in fact multinational. She's brought people in, spoken to people on different levels. There's been international awareness around the issue of Islamophobia. She's a strong Conservative. She continues to work within the Conservative Party. She hasn't left the Conservative Party. No. She's a Baroness, and she says, as a Muslim woman, only from Dewsbury, or not very far from here, that there is Islamophobia within the Conservative Party. Being a woman who's joined the Conservative Party some time ago, standing as a candidate, do you accept the fact that there are elements, or more or less, within the Conservative Party?
I haven't seen any. And if Varsi has spoken, for example, then it means that Conservative Party has let her to speak and let her to campaign. So this is the fairness. We are living in the society where democracy prevails. If any injustice is there, for example, there may be, or there could be injustices within the institutions. So it does not mean that it cannot be tackled. It should be tackled. It has to be tackled, and we need to be stronger voice for our community.
Institutions, like Shazia says, play a vital role in dealing with all kinds of challenges, whether they be Islamophobia, hate crime,
I objected to the word of institutions. Let me tell you from my experience. So for example, if there are something which is not right, which is not rightly done against you, it does not mean that this is being done on institution basis.
Okay.
So there may be some
individual
actions within the institutions which just creates the monopoly within the institutions, and it can be like, for example, I will just say, for example, if one person does something wrong, and if one nation says that this is the terrorism, which is wrong, sometimes that person's action could be individual action. So likewise, I will evaluate this argument on the other side. You've just mentioned about the Islamophobia or institutional discriminations. If there is any discrimination, if there is any unfair treatment, so this could be the act of individual people, not as a institution, as a whole. We should not give a bold statement that as institutions are unfair. I do not see institutions are unfair. There are checks and balances, there are accountability system in place, and there are a rule of law in this country. So it could be the individual actions, or it could be, and if anybody finds any kind of this kind of treatment, they should raise their voice against that discriminatory behaviors.
Yes. Shahana, you've worked with different organisations, and you will have come across lots of challenges and lots of ways of solutions. If you were to be elected on the 2nd of May as the Conservative candidate within your particular ward, being Longsight, and if you were to put things in a priority, what would be the number one priority that you would work towards?
number one priority for me would be, it might be the wrong way of saying it, is clean the street. When I mean clean the street, I want to see better futures for children. That's my number one priority, because we have.
So you don't just mean litter,
No, I mean in children. We invest in our children. Our children is our future, and our future is what we're doing at the moment, politics, whatever. If these children can be off the street, off drugs, off knife crime, we would have a better environment, better safe and environment, better community, better policies, better things for them, and we wouldn't have these kind of problems facing us, education-wise as well, better job prospects as well. Obviously, the Conservatives trying to get them into education, get them into jobs. This is a priority for them, and I feel strongly that is what we need, because sitting at home doing nothing, I think they're isolated, going in different direction when they see their parents like that, obviously with no jobs or they've not learnt English. We're in a country, civilized country. We should be moving forward, and what we're doing at the moment, we have moved forward a lot, and if we could do it, our children can do it. We need to encourage them to come out. There is something for you in the future. There is something there out there that you can do. So for my priority is our children. Our children is our life, our future, everything. That includes obviously Islam as well. Teach them the right way, because don't get me wrong, a lot of us have been called terrorists, and it's always Muslim. And the reason why, because we're not following the Muslim way properly. If people knew, we would just be like a stigma. They don't know the real what is Muslim, what is Islam. Because Islam doesn't tell you to kill, Muslim doesn't tell you to kill innocent people, do whatever you feel like, that's not it. So if we've been taught properly, I'm sure the children, they will go into mainstream, they will learn better. And I think also another thing is adult training, adult teaching. We need to teach the fathers and the mothers. Because if we're going to tackle our children, we need to tackle them as well. Because if they know something... Parenting,
that's one of the things that's been coming out.
And the children. And, my biggest challenge will be then if I am, elected on the 2nd of May, it's not for me, for me and my community. I'm going to try as much as possible. And even if I'm not voted, I'm happy. I will still be doing.
I was going to come back to that at the end.
There's no chance of me not doing it.
If you were to be elected as the representative, as a councillor within your particular ward, being Rusholme, what would be a top priority for you that you feel that you could work on straight away?
Working for justice. I want to bring justice equally for women and men. There should not be discrimination on a gender basis or ethnicity basis. And the second priority will be homelessness issue. For example, people are facing homelessness issue, and this is because of Labour's policies, whatever. But I want to work on the homelessness issue. And thirdly, I want to work on women development, and I want to tackle, for example, I want to be part of tackling the domestic violence issue. And we need to bring more women into development so that they can contribute to the society in a well-mannered way. And the women are the persons who can bring up a positive, a strong nation for future of this country.
Can I just say one thing?
Of course you can.
When Shazia was mentioning all that, it's correct what she's mentioning. I've been facing all these little bits and pieces, and obviously some issues are bigger terms that we have to solve, and some things are very little, takes a second. But when Shazia was mentioning domestic violence, in the last 30 years, I know I've dealt with hundreds and thousands of women falling in that part, children being taken away, into cares, homes and all sorts of things. But in the last few years, I have found opposite. Men have been domestic violent.
They're facing domestic violence.
And they've actually come out, and I have been dealing with them. And I myself never thought that there was an issue that men would ever be facing. It's called silent. Men are facing in silent. You know, I'm not saying to the women out there, please don't get me wrong. Obviously,
whoever faces domestic violence is wrong because it gives negative impact on children.
Exactly.
So we need to work on the domestic violence issue as a whole. But if women are facing the domestic violence issue, so we need to be voice of them.
Yeah, regardless of gender.
Yeah, regardless.
But it's
of
quite
gender.
interesting that you bring this point in because culturally it's difficult. But in terms of, if you look at society in general, for a man to actually say that they are a victim of any kind is a big thing. Because it's about their masculinity, isn't
masculinity, of course it is. But obviously it's times have come past and they've actually come out the shell and they've had to make, because lots of them have been, you know, put away or done something and they haven't, or it's been the other way around. And I do think sometimes, obviously it takes a family, I don't know them particularly well, you know, how they get on. It takes a husband knows the wife very well and the wife knows the husband. We just see on top of what happens, but when you get to the bottom of it, I didn't realise they had scratches, they were harmed, they were hurt, they were, you know, bruised, they broomed up, you know, hit
This
on
should
the
not
head.
be acceptable.
You know, it's none of it is acceptable. But sometimes now I'm thinking and now I'm feeling that, oh my God, there is domestic violence behind the scene of these men. And they've gone through hell and heaven. Yes, I'm not agreeing with the women or the men. I'm saying domestic violence should not happen. And that's why when I said to you, Shazia, before, when I'm trying to tackle these points, the knife crime and the drugs. First of all, we need, because once the children are into drugs, they grow up hitting the wives, the mothers, the child, because they're in that
it's a cycle then, isn't it?
Exactly, they're in that violent place where they see nothing else better for them. So if we start teaching the men and the women about domestic violence, giving counselling to them, why and how, and if you do call the police, this is what happens to your children, can you not negotiate, mediation, you know, sort of thing. As a community, I think we should be watching, or we should be helping, because when you're standing around and your neighbour's facing it, don't think it's the neighbour's problem, it's all our problem. And as a community, if we don't work together and help these people, then we're not helping each other. If I said my son's perfect, my daughter is perfect, that's all I need. It doesn't work like that.
Finally, ladies, I mean, we obviously wish all candidates the best of luck.
That's what I was going to say.
We do that. Should you not be elected on the 2nd of May, will you continue politics? People talk about politics very passionately, and we've seen lots of candidates over the years who fight the campaign and work through, and then it may be just by a margin, it may be just by a few votes, because it's a democracy at the end of the day. It doesn't mean that you're a failure, but in terms of on that particular day, those people came out to vote. We learn about campaigns, we learn about lots of things. Do you see yourself as a politician?
No.
Despite any election?
I never did. I've been working 30 years as a community activist, and I hope to go another 30 years or more as a community activist. I've never seen myself as a politician, and even now, if I do win, I don't think I will ever see myself as a politician, because I put myself in that place, what's in the best of my community, the people around me, all people ethnic minorities, no matter what. So if I don't win the election, thank God for you know, whatever happens, Allah knows best, and I'm happy with. I will be very happy with the result, and believe you me, I will continue my.
You'll carry on being the Shahana that we all know. Shazia, yourself.
It would not make any difference, because it's part of politics. So when people come into the politics, so one party has to lose and the other party has to win. So it doesn't make any difference. So morale should be higher. And I mean, I've been serving the communities for the last 10 years. So I mean, it doesn't make any difference to me. This is in my nature, this is my ambition, so that I will keep serving communities, people, vulnerable people, and I will contribute my services towards the other people. It doesn't make any difference to me, it's just a part of game.
If you were given the chance to give one message to the viewers out there in terms of voting for the Conservative Party, because obviously you both are candidates for the Conservative Party, and they haven't yet decided, and they're perhaps looking towards the Conservative for the first time, having listened to two strong women from the community within those particular areas?
I would like
I'm going
to
to start
say,
with Shahana, and then
yes,
come back to yourself.
yes.
What would be that message in terms of the
Well,
particular party?
The message for me is obviously you as you know, my customers, clients, friends, families, so you know exactly what I do and you know exactly what I don't do. I would, you know, give you information that you know, look at what I do and look at why I do all this thing and why all these years I've never been a politician, and look at what I want to change for you for the future, that I want my voice to be heard, so that it's your voice, your community's voice, that's me, so I can bring a better future for you. And you know what I say, don't look at my party, but look at what I do, because I'm serving the community. I'm not up there, you know, in Brexit's department. I'm here for the community. So no matter which politician or what who I support, I will be exactly the same community worker for you. And the voice will go a bit more further when I can do something for you, extra little way. Well, for now, I like to say thank you to all my viewers watching, and everyone for the lovely, lovely support I have had to all these weeks in the campaigns. And I couldn't be any more happier than, you know, myself being so grateful to you all the support and all the happiness, all the messages, all the texts, and you know, that is more than I feel I've already won. And I think, you know, for the community, and that's me. And thank you, and also good luck to all the candidates. Best of luck for whoever wins.
Thank you, Shana. Shazia, your final words to people out there who are perhaps looking to vote for your particular area. As a Conservative candidate, what message would you give out to them?
Yes, my message to my constituents or my voters are that always think about your local issues. So if you want to resolve your local issues, you need your local candidate or local councillor to be, stronger, to be clearer, and to be more approachable for you. So if you really want to create a difference in Rusholme in relation to your businesses, in relation to your living standard, so you need to vote Conservative, because Conservative can better serve with lower taxes, with fair treatment, and with the transparent policies which can make the Rusholme even better place to live in. So vote for Conservative so that you can see the difference between Labour Party treatment and the Conservative people, and then you will evaluate who is the more progressive, who is the more creative party. In future, this will make easier for you to make your decisions. Give a chance to Conservative Party this time so that you can realize the services, how they handle your problems, how they make you to grow in your society. Thank you.
Thanks.
I've just got a question that's been sent across to me from our technical team that's come through on the Curry Mile. Basically asking, do you have any plans on actually naming the Curry Mile as the Curry Mile? Because at the moment it's not called the Curry Mile, is it? It's known as a particular area. So have you got any plans in pushing that forward?
It's still the Curry Mile, isn't it? It's still the Curry Mile.
Formally. I think it's formally to be given that name.
I don't even understand where you're coming from.
We're talking about Rusholme, and Rusholme is known traditionally as the Curry Mile.
I think we need to look into the businesses. For example, the Conservative Party has given the businesses best chances to grow. For example, they've given the exemption to businesses for business taxes to small businesses, and they have always given the better and friendly policies to businesses so that businesses can grow up. So Conservative have always looked after the businesses. So if Rusholme is making progress, Rusholme is giving something to the country in a better way, we need to give chance to Rusholme area to grow so that they can contribute in more taxes, they can contribute in more economy of the country. We should help them.
Well, we've come to the end of the program. We got the curry question in. I think that was what our technical team. Obviously, looking at some of the comments and some of the things that come. Thank you very much. It's been absolutely wonderful to have you here this evening. We are actually wish you the best of luck to all the candidates that are coming in. Tomorrow evening, we are going to have some other candidates, and then we'll be working to actually listening and finding out what's happening on election day. So hopefully I'll be seeing you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So here we are. We've come to the end of the program, and we can't have a program when we refer to Manchester, Rusholme alongside without mentioning the word curry. So that came in quite nicely towards the end. It's been wonderful to listen to these particular ladies, and I say this wholeheartedly, not just because I'm a woman, but the fact that overcoming challenges is one thing, and politics brings with it an array of challenges and barriers and stereotypical views that are held by people from different communities, not just within particular communities, but different communities. And one of the things that has come out through the local election in 2019, there's been a wave of people actually aspiring to actually take part in these particular elections and coming up elections, and a growing number of people from particular ethnic minorities, but in particular women. Not just within seats that are traditionally been held as women-only seats, or particularly being encouraged for women to come forward, but the fact that these women have come forward themselves. They feel that they themselves have spent 30, 40 years working with communities. And as just one of our sisters has said this evening, she'll continue to do that work. So if you are from that particular community and you want to see UK24 TV develop programs that meet those needs, if you have a particular area of interest and you want us to develop a programming schedule that mirrors the things that you are interested in, so not just politics, we've concentrated on politics this week. Maybe you're a social activist, maybe you want us to look at the areas of abuse, maybe you have experiences with social services, or maybe you come from a family that was broken at one time and you've developed yourself and have become aspiring, confident young people who want to take it forward. Are you from a particular part of the community who's not Muslim but is from another minority, another faith background, and you want to see UK24 TV look at those particular programs? We welcome your views, we welcome your comments, we welcome your suggestions. Please inbox us, and if for further details there will be somebody from the team who inshallah will respond. As I always say at the end of my program, look after yourself, because in looking after yourself, we indeed look after each other. Inshallah, I shall see you tomorrow evening with another program in looking at the local elections of 2019. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, comprising 2 beautifully decorated modern guest suites with seating capacity for up to 1,100 guests. An ideal choice for engagements, weddings, Mendi parties, exhibitions and seminars. Supported by the latest sound and video technology, air-conditioned and free Wi-Fi. Contact us today and see how we can make your vision a reality. The Eastern Pavilion Banqueting Hall, located on Featherstall Road South, Oldham. A perfect choice for your perfect day.